used to have a lot of old guys come in and sit around and talk. One of them old guys, he came in there all the time. And he said, boy, how old are you? It seems like you've been around about 100 years. You been, what old? I said, I'm 15. He said, it seems like you've been around about 100 years. I always heard I had an old soul. And I tell my wife all the time, I said, I just felt like I was born at the wrong time. I'm just a little different. But I'm glad I'm different. Amen. It'd be a boring place if we was all the same, wouldn't it? God made us who we are, the way we are, for a reason. I told everybody when we started this book, when we started this study, that it was going to be just informal. We're going to ask questions. If you got a question, throw your hand up, and we're just going to go through it. It's very personal for me tonight because it's talking about praying for my church leaders. I've always prayed for my leaders. Those, not only those leaders who serve with me, but those leaders that I have served under. And when I think that they may not be doing things my way, you know what I do? I pray for them. I don't say, well, they're not doing it my way, and maybe they're doing it the way God's leading them. So we have to pray for our leaders. We started out, if you read up through where we're at so far in chapter 4, we started off with a tale of two church members in the introduction. It was talking about two church members, two families, two different families. They had met, they became friends, they had built a relationship, and then somewhere along the way, one of them got disenfranchised with the church and got aggravated and said, well, I think it's time for us to leave. We're going to move on somewhere else. I'll just tell you this today. Change of location doesn't change heart. It doesn't change heart. If you have something going on in your heart, there's a heart problem or a sin problem, it will not change if you change location. And then we got into chapter 1, talks about us being a functioning church member. I met with the deacons this afternoon, me, Tim, and Doug, and y'all pray for Bobby tonight. He's not feeling well. Where's Doug? Stevenson and Michael. We had a good meeting this afternoon and taught those guys about service and what is expected of them. And we talk about being a functioning church member. And we had that old list of what do we call it? Inactive church members. We had that big long list of inactive church members, and Doug had been here for a while. And he said, "Let's see that list." And he started going through. And he said, "Man, a lot of these people done died." And I said, "Well, we got to go clean that thing up, then." So that's why we're inactive, ain't it? Amen. Can't be active if you ain't alive. Amen. Well, that's definitely providentially hindered there. That first chapter talked about being a functioning church member. God made us, He saved us to be active. Actively serving in the church in some capacity. Find you a place. Hey, if you can't find one, we'll give you a place to serve in the church. We've got a lot of different places, committees, teams you can serve on, and we would love to have you serve on the team. Matter of fact, I think some of our older ladies, I gave one to Mom, some of our senior ladies, I gave them this morning a spiritual gifts test from Lifeway, free test. You say it's a test. What it does is it tells you what, a lot of people go throughout their whole lives and they don't know what their spiritual gifts are. They're floundering around in church, floundering around in service for the Lord. Well, I try this. Well, I try that. They never settle down anywhere that they feel like God has called them, so they just jump all over the place and they're never really happy serving. If you find out what your spiritual gifts are and how God has gifted you, you can use those spiritual gifts in service for the Lord and be an active church member. I like what he said in that first chapter. There is no such thing as an inactive church member. It's what we call them because they have fell off the face of the earth somewhere and you can't find them anywhere. And they have not been back to church. Many have moved on. Many have joined another church or moved a letter and just didn't tell anybody. But there's no such thing as an inactive church member. That's what we call it because just a lack of vocabulary, I guess. And then we moved on into chapter 2. And chapter 2 talked about I will be a unifying church member. I remember what we talked about in that second chapter. Gossip. You cannot unify in gossip. You can't. You can't, listen, you can't, I don't believe, some people can. You can't talk about somebody in a bad way and pray for them at the same time. If you're praying for that person, it makes it a whole lot harder to gossip about that person. So instead of talking about that person, why don't we pray for that person? That brother, that sister we may feel has fallen, or they don't do things like we do them. That's kind of where we're at in our society today. Well, you don't do things like I do. Well, I don't have to do things like you do. I might not put my shirt on like you put your shirt on. I don't know. I might not part my hair like you do. I got a flat top right now. I don't see no other flat tops in here. Y'all don't like that? That's fine. It ain't your head. It's fine. If you get 100 in Sunday school, I'll shave it all. I would pray for each other. Let's keep the gossip to a minute because gossip divides. Gossip divides. And then we talked about in chapter 3, on last week, I will not let my church be about me. About my preferences. We talked about the servant motif. To be a servant, what does it mean? I will not let my church be about my preferences and desires. Because guess what? This church is not about me. It's not just about you. It's not about what the church can do for you. It's about what you can do for the Lord through the church. God sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to die for our sins. He died for this local church that we have and established a new covenant. How many's heard that word covenant before? Now, there was an Abrahamic covenant with the children of Israel in days gone by, and then God gave Moses the law. He gave the 10 Commandments, and they lived under the law for so long, hundreds and thousands of years, almost right around a couple thousand years. They lived under the law, but we are not under the law anymore. Now, does that mean we're not supposed to try to keep the 10 Commandments, as in thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal? No. We're supposed to try to keep those 10 Commandments, but we cannot live the law. That's why He sent Jesus Christ. We are living under grace today, under that covenant of grace. That new covenant that when Jesus Christ came, He washed away all those sins, those transgressions. You see, when the priest went into the Holy of Holies and he sprinkled the blood on that mercy seat, he was only covering the sins of the men and women. His own sin. He was only covering them with the blood. When Jesus came, He washed away all sin. Past, present, future. Whatever sin you're going to commit tomorrow, He's already died for it. That blows my little mind. He's already died for it. It's under the blood. Like that song we sang this morning. And then we're moving into chapter 4 tonight. I will pray for my church leaders. Now, as I read through this, I couldn't think of any other way to do it other than just read it. So I want you to read along with me tonight. It's just a few paragraphs because it tells a story about Pastor Mike. And I, you know, as I was reading this, I was shaking my head going, yeah, sometimes that's what that is. I'm in Red chapter 4. All right. It's Thursday morning. Pastor Mike has a clear calendar, an aberration in his busy schedule. Actually, the calendar is not really clear. He has set aside time to finish his sermon for Sunday. His Bible is open. Study aids are nearby. He begins to study. Then the phone rings. Yep. His assistant tells him about a car accident involving a family in the church. Well, I don't have an assistant. My assistant is me. The ambulances are already on the way to the hospital. Mike leaves all his study material on his desk and jumps into the car. On the way to the hospital, his assistant calls him again. The entire Ghazi family of 5 were in the car. None are seriously hurt except Gary, the father, and husband of the family. His condition is grave. Then Pastor Mike walks into the emergency room. Family has just been told that their husband and father did not make it. They see the pastor and run to him sobbing in total shock. Mike is there for them. He stays with the entire family for 3 hours until he is certain enough people are around to care for them. And that's just the heart of a pastor. That's the heart of a servant. He wants to know that those people are in good hands before he leaves. You know, a lot of times I go to the hospital, and Brother Jim's done this, and Bobby, and some of the other men have done this. I go to the hospital, and somebody's having serious surgery. It may take hours. And we'll just sit there with that family until we hear them say everything's okay. They're in recovery. They're doing good. Very few times do we hear it didn't go good. They had a problem. They're working on them now. Very few times. Most of the time, it goes good. We try to be there with the family, to pray with that family, and ask God's blessings on that time. And then this happens. He stops by his home to see his wife and grab a quick sandwich. It is now afternoon. He's not sure if he can return to his sermon preparation, but he knows he must. He must fight the emotional exhaustion of the morning and finish his message. But as he walks back to the church, his assistant apologetically tells him that 2 people need to speak with him. They consider it urgent. It's funny because this stuff happens, really does. This was a true story, by the way. They just changed the names. Mike meets with the 2 men. One of them is the worship leader of the church. He is struggling with his ministry and is considering giving up. In 2 hours, Mike listens. He consoles. He attempts to encourage the staff member. That's what we try to do as leaders. We try to encourage those that we're serving with, just go 1 more mile. I know you really want to quit, and I know you want to give it up, but just go 1 more mile. I want to go with you if you'll just go 1 more mile. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do, is it not? If we see a brother or sister struggling and they have a problem, maybe you're thinking about quitting, and it may be because of nothing that's happening in church. It may be something in their home life that they are thinking about quitting or giving up, maybe quitting church altogether. And you go to that person and say, hey, I'll walk with you through this trial if you'll just go 1 more mile. What did Jesus tell us? If your friend asks you to walk a mile with you, go with the 20. Or your enemy, either one. Go with the 20. And then Mike meets the 2 men. For 2 hours he listens, he consoles. The next visitor then catches Mike off guard. George is one of the key lay leaders in the church. Mike considers him a friend and an incredibly vital person in the overall leadership of the congregation. George struggles to speak. His wife, my wife, is having an affair, he says. You would be surprised at the things that are going on in our world today and some of the crazy stuff that I hear. When I talk to folks just in confidence, I don't go blabbing people's secrets everywhere. I don't do that. I know preachers that do. I don't do that. If you talk to me in confidence, it's in confidence. It stays here. There are no words for 5 minutes, just tears and sobbing. That's what happens when a brother or sister is hurting. I cry with them. I sit there with them and pray for them. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do, is it not? Pray for our leaders. Mike stays with George for 2 hours. They pray together about the next steps. Now, it's nearly 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Mike is too drained to attempt to get back to his sermon. This has happened. It happens. Instead, he begins to look at his crowded email inbox. He cringes when he sees one of the senders of an email. But he cannot stop himself because he just got to see what this person's going to say. It's from one of Mike's most frequent critics in the church. She has two complaints. The first irritation was something he said in last Sunday's sermon. The second complaint addressed Mike's failure to visit her sister-in-law who had minor outpatient surgery. And by the way, Mike knew nothing about the surgery. Isn't that kind of unfair? Now ask the preacher to be somewhere he didn't even know he's supposed to be. That ain't even right, is it? It happens. It does happen. Well, you're supposed to call everybody every week. Don't do that. No. Call everybody in this church every week. Pat them on the back and rub their head. Rub your belly. Is everything okay? No. No. That's babying somebody. Pastor Mike shuts the laptop cover and moves to his car slowly. He'll stop by the house to grab a quick bite. Then he needs to check on the Godsey family who lost their loved one. He will stay with them for a while, but he must leave prior to 7:30 when he is to give the invitation for a high school basketball game. Several people corner him at the game, so he doesn't get home until after 9 o'clock. He goes to a small study in his home, shuts the door, and begins to cry. Now I know what the story's talking about because I've been there. I've been there. Sometimes you never know what the emotional roller coaster of a day will bring. I mean, in our own lives every day. But just to let you know, pastors have the same problems you do. Leaders have the same problems that you do. Sometimes, maybe even worse, because they're dealing with everybody else's problems too. I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but it was so sad that I heard, this was just a few years ago. It is not today because since then, it was 2012, the South Carolina had the highest suicide rate of pastors out of 50 states. That's crazy. That blew my mind when I heard that. That was in 2012. And I thank God that the South Carolina Baptist Convention has done a lot to help that. Moving in, and they've started things like Band of Brothers and things like that bring pastors together and talk. So that when these problems come up, it's sad that some of the stories I hear. I would tell you one tonight. It really moved my heart. There was a pastor, and I believe it was Tennessee. There was some trouble in the church, and the deacons were pressing him to give up or quit. The next morning, the church secretary comes in. They find the pastor hanging over the baptistry. He hung himself with his own tie. And he left a note on his tie that said, "Are you happy now?" That's sad, folks. That's just sad. It shouldn't be that way in churches today. There's no way we shouldn't be able to get along if we're God's people. As I read the story, it really made me think, not only, just about, me as a leader, but our leaders. We all have struggles in this life. And we go through things. Gary Godsey, the father and husband who was killed in a car accident, was Mike's best friend. This was the first chance that Mike had to grieve. The next section on page 46, let's flip over there. On page 46, it says, "Pray for the pastor and other church leaders." All church leaders need prayer, not just the pastor. Our deacons, their families, our teachers. Our teachers every Sunday morning, faithful. They go to that class, they teach, they do their best. We need to pray for them. Because I can guarantee you, if they're trying and they're doing something for the Lord, Satan doesn't like it. He is trying to do everything he can to stop what they're doing. We'll get to that in just a few minutes about talking about the snare, the devil's trap. And I'm not going to read the rest of this. I just highlighted a few things here. If you've read it, you know what the story is. His day is filled with mountaintops and valleys. A lot of times my day is like that. Some days it's not. We should pray that God would give him the wisdom, the insight, and the words to preach. This morning as I stood, I had studied. I really had studied. I had a sermon prepared. I had it in my notebook. I was ready to go with that sermon. I was going to preach on I Want That Mountain. Remember when Joshua and Caleb went in, got ready to go? They sent in the 10 spies into the promised land. Sent in the 12 spies, excuse me. And only 2 came back and said, we can take the land. You know who those 2 were? Joshua, Caleb. Joshua and Caleb. Well, in the story this morning I was going to preach, Caleb is now 85 years old. Oh, Caleb still has some fight in him. He said, I'm 85 years old, but I'm stronger now than I was then. I still want that mountain. I wonder if there's anybody sitting here now, you've been serving God for a long time. You feel like quitting. You feel like nothing matters. Maybe getting older now. And you say, nobody really cares. Well, God does. And there's still a few people in this church that do care. I think a lot of people care. You see, we should pray that God can give him wisdom and insight and the words to preach. When I stood this morning and after I studied it and was ready for that message, and that scares me to death when God does that. He's done it a few times. And that scripture came to my mind, and I just had to turn over there. I just obeyed the Lord this morning. You see what God does when we obey the Lord? The Holy Spirit, when He speaks. There are those who will be listening to the preacher, but they need to hear from God. You see, y'all didn't come to hear what I had to say this morning. I'm just a mouthpiece. Y'all saw those little, what do you call those things that they talk through? A loud microphone. You're listening. You're not listening to what that microphone is saying. I'm just a mouthpiece. I'm here to give you the message that God has given me. God is working through me. I'm just a mouthpiece. I don't want you to see me. I want you to hear what God is saying through me. And it says, pray for His preaching. All right, let's look at page 47. Y'all okay? Y'all ain't going to fall out on me, are you? All right. I need to run around the church one time. I will. I won't be able to breathe when I get back around here. I can tell you that now. I will run around. It says pray for him and his family. And I do appreciate your prayers. But I ask you to pray for my family. Because when I struggle, they struggle. When I struggle, my wife struggles. When I am frustrated, she is really frustrated. You know why? Because she loves me. And every valley I walk through, she walks through that valley with me. Right? She loves me. That's what a pastor's life does. That's what his family does. One of the most convincing and challenging verses for pastors is 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. If anyone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he take care of God's church? I have heard countless pastors worry about the struggle over their families. He said that they worry that they neglect their families because of the demands of the church. I don't think the demands of the church should ever overrun a pastor's family. He should be able to spend time with his family. By the way, I had a family before I came into the ministry. And by the way, the family was here before the church was. We're supposed to take care of our families. We are church members. We must be the prayer intercessors for pastors and their families. I'll tell you what, when you maybe think that pastor or leaders, not just this pastor, the deacons or the teachers, when you maybe think that they aren't doing their job, I want you to take a minute and step in their shoes. Think about stepping behind this pulpit or standing behind that stand on Sunday morning and teaching a Sunday school class, or being a leader or a deacon in this church when people scrutinize everything that you do and say. I think about that a lot of times. We must be the prayer of intercessors for pastors and their families. We should pray, not just for the pastor, but for our leaders in our church. It's kind of like Mama used to say, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That's pretty good advice, I think. When you get ready to say something bad, go, bite that tongue. Bite it. And this is really where I wanted to get to tonight. On 47, on page 47. I hope y'all get something out of this tonight. We still got about 10 minutes. Don't fall asleep on me yet. When we look at 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 2 through 4, it talks about the qualifications of a pastor or an overseer in the church. And Paul said, he that seeketh the office of a bishop findeth a good thing, or he seeketh a good thing. In these verses, an overseer therefore must be above reproach, husband of one wife, self-controlled, sensible, respectable, hospitable, an able teacher, not addicted to wine, not a bully, but gentle, not quarrelsome, not greedy, who manages his own household confidently, having his children under control with all dignity. That's a mouthful right there. That's a mouthful. And did you know when pastors are called, most of the time the Scripture is brought up in an interview. Do you qualify under the Scripture in 2 Timothy? Do you qualify? 1 Timothy, excuse me. Just to get past the above reproach part is tough. That word reproach, it means to find fault. Did y'all know I find enough fault with myself? I don't need everybody else does. I really do. I tell my wife all the time when we leave church, I said, I blew it today. I blew it. She said, and this one's Pastor's wife does. She said, did you do your best? I said, yeah. She said, then you did what God told you to do. Right. Amen. So to be above reproach means to be above finding fault. Are any of us, have any of us met that criteria? Yes. We are above finding fault. I don't think so. When people in the community speak or think about the pastor, the thoughts and words should be positive and encouraging. Now, I'll say this. Pastor has a lot to live up to. And he should rule well his house. And he should love his family. And by the way, I truly believe if he really loves his family, he will rule well. My boys tonight, they know I love them. They know I'd do anything for them. They know I stand beside them as long as they don't want to try. Y'all do know that, right? You know, that's quite an expectation to hold on to. On top of that, the pastor must maintain good self-control. I have been in situations in church. I've been pastoring 5, going on 6 years now. I've been in situations. And I'm still human, y'all. I've had people get in my face before. But I'm still redneck too now. I'm still human. The human side of me wanted to wring their jaws. But the Holy Spirit said, hold yourself. Hold yourself. Check yourself. Y'all heard that? You better check yourself, fool. That's what the Holy Spirit tells me. Check yourself. He must be a good teacher. And I strive to do that. I study all the time. I try to be a good teacher. He must be gentle and not argumentative. I really try to do that. I don't like arguing with people. I just like to be right and you do what I say. And I'm not always right. I'm just joking a little bit there. Do you see why church members must pray for the pastor's life? In that list of qualifications of the pastor in 1 Timothy chapter 3, the 7th verse puts it all in perspective. Furthermore, he must have a good reputation among outsiders, so that he does not fall into disgrace of the devil's trap. You can talk to people I worked with 20 years ago at the bleacher, and they'll tell you my reputation at the bleacher area. Am I perfect? No. But I love the Lord then, before I was ever a pastor. The outsiders that I'm talking about tonight, in that verse, it refers to unbelievers who are not part of the church. When they look at your deacon down there doing so and so, I saw your leaders down wherever doing so and so. I saw their car at the strip club. God forbid. You better not still be there when I get there. Because I'm going to let you know that I saw you there. Like I said, that's still the human side of me. When a brother or sister is doing wrong, we need to let them know the right way they're doing wrong. And guess what? They need to know that you saw them doing wrong. Preacher in town here said he walked into the corner cover out here, and one of his members was walking like this. He was walking like this, and when he come around the corner of the shelf, he looked up and he had an 18-pack in his hand, a beer. And he was like, preacher looked at him and said, I ain't keeping score. See, we're not doing anything in the Bahamas or anywhere else we'd be ashamed to do right here at home. We're supposed to live lives above reproach. Meaning the world should not look at us and say, hey, if that's a Christian, I don't want to be that. I'm talking about above reproach now. But in a rare use of the word, the verse speaks of the devil's trap. In that context, the verse mentions the devil's trap. Let's not move past those two words too quickly. The devil is obvious. He is a literal chief among all demons. He is real and he is powerful. Don't ever think that you are stronger than the devil, because you're not. The devil's trap tonight. A trap is something that is set intentionally. I had a preacher friend of mine, he said it's been probably 10, 12 years ago. He said he was at the fellowship building at the church. He was in there getting some food ready for a little function over there. He said, I thought I locked the door behind me, but I didn't. He said, there was a woman, she came in the building and she snuck up on me. And he said she was crazy. And he said, you know what? I really believe the devil sent her by my way to steer me the wrong way. He said, but I got her out of there right quick, fast, and in a hurry. Ladies, I'm going to say this. If you come in my office back there and you shut that door behind you, I'm going to say, ho, 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 ho! Open that door. You know why? Because I want everything to be above reproach. Right. Amen. A trap is something that is set intentionally. It means that the devil has devised a plan to bring the pastor down. he set a trap. He set traps all over the place today. And it's not always a woman. It's not always money. It may be discouragement. Trap discouragement's all over. It's all over Lancaster, y'all. Pastors. 10 churches in our association without pastors. We've got 2 churches in our association. If something that happened in the next 2 years, they're going to close the doors. That's sad. You know why? Because people want their way. People want their way. They're not willing to change. And we're going to do church our way. We don't care what God says. Amen. It means that the devil sees the pastor as a threat. Satan would love to get me to quit tonight. Can I be honest with y'all? I'm going to be honest with you as a man, as a pastor. I can't tell you how many times Satan's tempted me. Oh, why don't you just go on back and get a job? You'd be better off. Because I did come into ministry later in my life. You'd be better off. You was making good money where you were at. Why didn't you just stay there? That's what Satan does. You know what he's trying to do to me? He's trying to set a trap. I mean, I'm confused enough. I don't need him confusing me no more. The nature of this trap will be temptation, where the pastor's reputation will be on. Did you know that there are people who try to harm the reputation of the pastor? Now, I'm going to be honest. If I find out you doing that, I'm coming to talk to you. I'm going to let you know that. I'm man enough to do that. I'll tell you to your face tonight. I love y'all. But if I find out you're trying to hurt the reputation of me or my family, I'm going to talk to you. Because I love you. Not to be mean, but we're going to have a little talk. A little talk with Jesus, you know what I'm saying? The nature of this trap will be temptation, where the pastor's reputation will be harmed. You see, if Satan could ruin my testimony tonight, he could ruin my whole life. Why do I do that? What I was talking about with the door while ago on my stage. I'm trying to keep my reputation clean. It's not me. It's what Christ has done in me. I don't want to ruin that. And so many preachers, heard one not too long ago. Ladies having problems at home. She came into the church, the preacher, I don't know what he had on. She said, "You look nice in that day." Started with just a little word. Wasn't long, they got caught in the church office doing what they shouldn't have been doing. You see, we have to guard ourselves. Guys, it ain't just me either. It's y'all too. Satan would have, he'll set a trap for you. And it might just be a little compliment. She might look your way and bat her eyes at you. You better run. Like Joseph did with Plyler, you better run. Leave your coat and run. Run from that heifer. Hey, ladies, the guys will do the same thing to you. He'll come up to you and tell you how nice you look, and you're married, and he don't give two. I don't even know what to say there. He don't care. 2 hoots, yeah. He doesn't care. What Satan's trying to do is he's trying to set a trap for you. He knows you're married. Satan is attacking and setting traps and destroying marriages all over this town. The divorce rate today is 52%. Meaning over half of marriages end in divorce. And a lot because of infidelity. Satan set a trap. The devil is setting traps for pastors. Anything he can do to bring harm to the pastor's reputation. He will stop at nothing, whether it be greed. I get these little things in the mail coming to church all the time. This past thing's what I saw in the mail. Talking about pastors who get caught, they don't pay their taxes. They start making all this money, these millions of dollars, and they don't pay their taxes. They got caught in the trap. Greed. He will stop at nothing. Greed, adultery, anger, addiction, to catch the pastor in his trap. Satan's got a trap for you too. It's not just for the pastors. It's not just for the leaders. It's for regular old church folks too. If he can catch you in his trap, he has done what he set out to do. You say, I'm young and I'm strong. I can have... No, you can't. You can't. The devil is powerful. But listen to this. But God is much more powerful. We, today, tonight, we're church members. We're praying for the protection of our pastor and other church leaders. Pray for his physical and mental health on page 50. We'll get down there at the end. We're going to talk about the 4 plays and what he done. Pray for his physical and mental health. I can't tell you how many pastors today, and I talked about pastor suicide just a little bit ago. I can't tell you how many pastors today, this goes to physical and mental health. They're running themselves to death. They're going all the time physically. They're not taking care of themselves physically. And mentally, they're shocked. Mentally, they're just drained. We went to a pastor's conference last year sometime. I think this before I finished, quit working. Took some time off work. I just needed to hear some encouragement. Went to a pastor's conference, and one of the speakers was from the North American Mission Board. He said pastors need to rest at least 1 hour a day. I'm talking about away from everything. Just step away for a little bit, because they deal with so many things. And they need, every 5 years, they need a sabbatical, whatever time that may be, 2, 3 weeks, or a month, or whatever. Why? Because Satan is setting traps. That pastor gets tired. His mind gets tired. He gets out of shape. Look at me. Rounds of shape. Do you know a pastor's on call every day, all day? Has anybody here were on call before? For your job? Yeah, meaning they can call you any time of night and you got to get up and go. We should also pray for our pastor's mental health. I mean, mine looked real good when I come here, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just joking tonight. The pastor has to make dozens of decisions each week that require discernment and wisdom. I ask for your prayers because some of those decisions that I have to make, they affect me and my family. Y'all getting it tonight? Don't fall asleep on me over here, y'all. He needs wisdom dealing with us church members each week so he can best discern how to respond to the plethora of demands upon him. We can pray that he would experience the peace that only God can give. As we look at this 4th pledge tonight, this pledge requires discipline. But it does not necessarily require a lot of time. In fact, I've been asking church members for years to pray 5 minutes a day for their pastors. That's not too much, is it? Just 5 minutes. I appreciate your prayers, and I know that you do pray for me. And I thank you for that. You know, I've shared my heart tonight. Because, again, I'm just human. I'm just a man. I could fall tomorrow, and in 2 weeks, y'all be getting another pastor. But I want to share my heart with you tonight in this chapter. Without our ongoing intercessory prayer, our churches will not be healthy. You know what one of the most important parts of the chance process is? The prayer team. Prayer. Without prayer, we cannot go on. That is part of our everyday Christian life. Are we praying like we should? Or is it God bless us forward and no more? That's good enough, ain't it? We prayed 3 seconds today. The Lord ain't done long enough. You know, we talk about giving God 10% of our money. What about our time? Our talents?
Talk about talents. And our spiritual gifts that Paul talks about in Corinthians. We all have spiritual gifts. Everybody's got at least one. Some have more. Use that spiritual gift. As we look at this fourth pledge tonight, it says, I will pray for my pastor every day. I understand that the pastor's work is never ending. His days are filled with numerous demands that bring emotional highs and lows. He must deal with critics. He must be a good husband and father. Because my pastor cannot do all things in his own power, I will pray for his strength and wisdom daily. I hope that you can sign and date that. Please pray, not just for your pastor, but for our leaders. That we would follow the leadership of the Holy Spirit tonight in all that we do for our church. You see, because if we're following His leadership, everything's going to be all right. It's not about what I want tonight. It's not about what the leaders want. It's about what God wants for Eastside Baptist Church. I don't even know what time it is, y'all. About 10 minutes after. Y'all's at the Pentecostal church, y'all still be here at 9 o'clock tonight. Let's look at these questions real quick. Using spiritual backing, explain why the pastor's family is such an important factor in his ministry. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5, if the pastor can't rule his own house, he should not rule the church. Amen. I also know this, and I have enough common sense to know this, that sometimes pastors, their children get grown, they get out on their own, they do what they want to do. A pastor can't stop that. No man. But if you are ruling well your house, you are taking care of your family, and the children are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the wife is submission to the husband. You see, we look at that a lot of times and we say, "Oh, that's just, I don't like that." Guys, we ought to be somebody that our woman is willing to submit to. We ought to be the kind of man that she doesn't mind submitting to. If we love her like we should, she will. What is meant by above reproach in 1 Timothy 3 and 2? Anybody want to answer that? Y'all wrote anything down there? Okay. I saw it reach call down there. Above reproach. Above reproach, to me it means to be above finding fault. It is only possible through the help of the Lord to live above reproach. To live a life that when people point their finger and say, she's real, he's real, they live a life that is above reproach. I just can't find anything in their right life that's wrong. I mean, I know they're not perfect, but they're trying to live above reproach. Above the reproach of sin in their life. Explain the implications of the devil's trap in 1 Timothy 3 and 2. We talked about the trap, didn't we? That's not just for pastors, is it? That's for husbands and wives, children, young folks. The devil wants to set a trap tonight for you and your family. And we got to be careful. The trap is set intentionally. You know, Proverbs says that a snare is set for the fowler. It's intentionally set to catch the fowler, the bird. The bird is unaware of the trap until he falls into it. It means that Satan has devised a plan to bring the pastor down. Satan wants to bring the pastor down. Satan wants to bring all pastors down. What is the meaning of outsiders in 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 7? Outsiders are non-believers outside the church. And why should they be concerned to church members? Yeah, that's right. And And by the way, should we not try to live that life above reproach around those outsiders?
And doing
Amen.
that, spreading that gospel.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. We should love sinners no matter who they are or where they are. Pastors or leaders should have a good reputation with those outside the church. Just because somebody is not a Christian or don't go to my church doesn't mean I ought to treat them like a dog. No. We're to try to build a relationship with that person so we can win them to God. Find some key passages in the Bible where intercessory prayer takes place. Anybody know any of them? I wrote these down. Anybody know any of them? I'm talking about intercessory prayer. Paul was big on intercessory prayer. All of it. He's always praying for churches. Moses was. Yes, he was. But hey, Moses prayed a couple times that God was going to destroy the children of Israel. Moses said, God, if you're going to do that, take my part out of the book. I'm talking about the book of life. Now that's intercessory prayer right there. Romans 1:8-10, Paul prays for Christians in Rome. 1 Corinthians 1:4-9, Paul prays for the Corinthians. Galatians 6:18, Paul prays for the Galatians. John, Jesus prays for all believers. You know when Jesus was hanging on the cross, he prayed, Father, forgive them. Well, they know not what they do. As he was dying, he was praying for the lost. That'd be you and me. Amen. This will be good tonight. Anybody got anything to pray for tonight? Or you got any questions or concerns? Anybody got anything else you want to share tonight? Oh, yeah. She got me. Amen. I knew I found a good one when I found her. I'll never forget the night or the day, well, it's daytime when I asked her dad for a hand in marriage. I told him, I said, Tommy, I need to talk to you. I said, I want to marry her. I want to marry Tammy. He said, do you love her? I said, I do. He said, are you going to treat her right? I said, best I can. And he said, no, she's married. He said, no, I hate to see her go, but he said, I think you can be good to her. Next week is I will leave my family to be helping church members. In a couple of weeks, I think I found a follow-up to this book. It's called I Will. Written by the same man, Tom Rainer. And it gives, matter of fact, I bought the book and I'm reading it now. And it talks about the church that reaches outside the four walls. It's gonna be real good, y'all. It's gonna be real good. I'm hoping we get into that pretty soon. I will lead my family to be healthy church members. You see, you can't go around talking about the church all the time, talking bad about it, and expect your family to respect the church or the pastor when you talk bad about it all the time. They just won't. Next thing you know, once your kids get your age, you know what they're doing? They're doing the same thing. Talking about the church, running the church down, running the pastor down. Next thing you know, they're following the same trap. Thank you for that. Anybody else get anything out of the book? I think it's been pretty good. It's definitely it'll open your eyes to some things. That first one was the invitation. That second one was a command to go. Yeah. Both of them are verbs. You know what a verb is? Action. Putting it into action. You know what? I can sit out in that car out there tonight, and I can go vroom, vroom, vroom. That thing ain't going nowhere. I put it in drive. Church, it's time that we put it in drive. Anybody else tonight? Before we pray? I hadn't really felt like God wanted me to preach this. I wanted to do it in a very informal way. And I hope it's been a blessing to you. And I hope that it'll help you grow in your spiritual relationship with your relationship with God. And become a better church member. I was telling someone, I think I told someone today, I want folks to want to be here at Eastside Baptist Church. I want them to come and say, that place is boring, man. It's boring me out of my brain. Now, my wife said this. She said, you were the least boring person I've ever seen. I said, well, I'm glad to know that. Anybody else? No? That's why we got to pray for each other.
With my whole family coming, I left this building in my car, cranked this time, stopped at Jack's, have both my children in the back seat, car would not start. I've not got my car back yet, it's a start. Like, this, nothing leading up to it. I mean, out of nowhere, and it's just like little things like that. This is like the same day that the deacons up here. I mean, like we became members of the church the same day.
Yeah.
So it comes quick too, Mark. So.
Yeah, but don't be discouraged. I mean, something's good. Amen. Something good just happened. Hey, look here. Satan ain't got to fight it once he's already got it. He ain't got to fight it. He's already got it. He likes to agitate me. I'm just telling you, man. Anybody else tonight? Yeah. Sick? Yeah, please pray for me and my family. Anybody else tonight?